Welcome back to the Marketing Madman on Extra 106.3. Nick Constantino here, and Candice and I we're going to get to the thick of it now. But there was a problem. On the first segment, she was so pissed off about something that we're now going to talk about that it flustered her and threw her off. So before we even get to it, what is it and why does it piss you off?
Well, we are in Atlanta, Nick, and I would say the Atlanta traffic. Whether it's construction, there's an accident, somebody just can't drive, the weather is this, that,
Rewind. Let's get to the core base of this. They've been driving since they were 15 years old. Once you become 15 and get a driver's license, no one ever trains you to do anything else again in the world.
You don't get retested.
The amount of laws, the audacity. I will drive, and I'm pretty good. I'm aggressive, but I'm good. I blinker, I change lanes. I understand what a double white, I understand all the rules.
You're from New York. I beg to differ.
I understand the rules. I didn't say I follow them. I said I understand them. There's a difference between purposely trying to break something and not simply understanding it. So out of all times, what pisses me off more than anything is I'll be downtown, and I'll make a left on a red light on a one lane to a one lane. Okay? In the earth, there's nothing that can go wrong. It is the safest thing you can do, and people don't even understand the rules of the road. So construction, yes, they're terrible. Nails fall everywhere. My car, I busted so many tires, but people are freaking dummies.
Yep.
They are dummies. And I get stress and everything. You live up north 400, a quarter of growth, a quarter of people coming to Atlanta for the first time. How bad does it piss you off to be in downtown Roswell and see people with license plates that say Fulton County Roswell that make the wrong turns and don't know where they're going?
That doesn't piss me off as bad as the red light turns green and you don't even have time to like put your foot on one thing or the other and they start honking the horn, which I know you're a New Yorker. It's probably you behind me. It makes me say very ugly words. In the morning on the way to school today, taking my kids, you've got people going 30 and a 55. I'm late. I want to pass you. It's a double yellow line. I may have a day or two that I might do that. I might be the person you complain about. I don't know.
Well, look, it's funny. I've tried to change some of the behaviors because I have children. So I'm like, oh my God, you are such a dummy. Okay. And then my daughter, who's 7, goes, Daddy, we know there's no difference between stupid and dummy. So dummy's a bad word too.
Oh, once they get older, you'll graduate to other words.
Oh, the words come. I'm trying to be better.
You know.
But look, I mean, I think we look at all these things holistically, right? There's so many ways we need to fix. Okay, well, if we were better drivers, there'd be less traffic. We'd be more efficient with our time. We'd have better things to do. Why is there no study done on how to fix these issues? I bet you. So in China, they have a social system of credit, pretty much. And they measure people who, I bet you there's a way to have sensors on cars to see who the problem is. There's one idiot on 285 that hits their brakes at the same place every time for no reason.
Yeah.
How do we make these things more efficient? And I've written letters to economists and economic podcasts to get answers. How do we get to the root of this? Now, can I get to it? Here's another one. Has your car insurance jumped up by, what was it, 100%, 115? I haven't been in an accident. Knock on wood, I haven't gotten a ticket. I don't know how. My insurance has jumped up.
Hold my beer. I have an 18-year-old daughter that drives a Mercedes-Benz. My car insurance has doubled in the last 2 years.
I thought she was saying hold my beer as if she was driving and wondering why her insurance was so high.
That's why.
Okay.
That is why.
Now I understand. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Just wait till your kids start driving and then you will see it is just astronomical to insure a teenage driver.
Yeah.
But yes, everybody's rates did go up last year. There's some theories behind that. Allegedly during COVID, when people weren't driving as much, they stayed at home. There were some rate cuts, and then the insurance companies became upside down. I don't know.
Yeah, upside down. So the government mandates to have something and then doesn't regulate that industry, which just advertises all of our money way to compete with each other. That sounds like a super fair way that government works. That's a typical example of it. We'll get into government another time.
Oof.
We will get into government another time. Let's talk inflation, okay? Because it's my theory on inflation is all inflation is the power goes back to the companies to pound us and screw us so bad because they see that people are willing to pay more, so they pay more. Okay, and is if inflation bad enough? When was the last time that you had a positive customer service experience? Unless you, of course, at 680 The Fan or Exovations. When was the last time you went out and you said, wow, I'm paying all this money. I feel like this service is so much better.
Okay, I will give you an example of this.
Please.
Okay, let's look at McDonald's and Chick-fil-A. You've got the McDonald's chicken sandwich. You have the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. Do they taste the same? No. Let's pretend they did. Your service at a Chick-fil-A, it's going to be a premium service.
Yep.
You're going to get please. You're going to get thank you. You're going to have just fast.
But isn't it annoying that the only differentiator is please and thank you? Like anybody can say those words.
Yeah.
Look, there's technology, but McDonald's is supposed to have the best technology in the world. It is pleasant people that are happy being there that say please and thank you. And we've botched it.
It's your experience.
We botched it so bad. There's no loyalty to companies or people anymore. But doesn't it make your life hard? Like when you're answering phones, and look, a lot of this is user error, right? Sometimes the experience is terrible because the person that's ordering is so dumb that they don't even understand how it works.
Right.
Or like when you go into a McDonald's, God forbid you're traveling, I lugged my kids into a restaurant because they have to pee and eat, and you're sitting there and there's a line out the door, and the person in that moment is reading every item on the menu, saying they want mayonnaise removed from this little speckle to do this. It's like, guys, this is freaking fast food. Order your food and get the F out of the way. So user error, but please and thank you would go a very long way.
But I do think the whole online, because a lot of McDonald's, even Chick-fil-A, you can order it online yourself. I think that might cut out some of the dummies a little
because
bit.
you're wasting your own time to do it. You're not screwing everybody else over. And usually you find that when you order online, it's there on time. Lo and behold, who would have thought
And
it?
it's right.
Who would have thunk it? Yeah, that is the hardest part, is like, where is the error on the company, on the employee, or on the user error? And it is pretty up in the air how often it happens each way.
So what do you think about Chick-fil-A being closed on Sundays? Do you think it hurts their business or
F no, that is a complete gimmick to adjust the supply-demand curve in their own favor.
It is.
That's all it is. And you know what the funniest part is? Every single time I have a hankering for Chick-fil-A.
On
it's
a Sunday.
Freaking Sunday. So in my brain, I have associated it with something I can't get, which makes me want it more.
It's genius.
Which makes me want it more.
Yeah.
So I think Chick-fil-A is one of those examples of how to do things the right way. I know people that have, Hudson Mason is a great example, obviously ex-quarterback of Georgia, but he left here to go be a manager training there. And they paid him so handsomely to do this that like it shows that they are invested in what this town wants, right? If you put Hudson Mason in New York City, they'd be like, who the hell is this?
Right.
Who cares? But here, to have an ex-Georgia quarterback showing up in meetings and shaking hands with people, that's it. They get the business of who they're trying to go after.
They do.
But what's crazy, do you know how much they love Chick-fil-A in New York? Do you know how unused to being told please and thank you New Yorkers are? Do you know the face I get? Because down here, I say sir and ma'am. Do you know the face that I get up there when I say those things? Like, it's either like, sir is my father, or like, I'm like, yo, calm down. That's just a nice way to say hello. It's incredible.
I'm so glad that we've brought you into the fold and southernized you just a little bit.
Hey, look, I have a big green egg. Okay, so for starters, I understand college football. I'll stay up and watch overtimes. I get all of it. I tailgate like a maniac. That actually never changed. But I don't tell people from the Northeast to move down here because I also don't want them. We don't need them. We're good.
You're a true Southern now.
We're good the way we are. I am a Southerner with Northern tendencies.
Yeah, it's okay.
But so give me some other things. We could talk business. We could talk anything. We had a political cycle. There's a freaking hurricane every other Tuesday. What do we got? Let's go reach down real deep.
Do you want to talk about weather? Do you want to talk about the weather people?
Well, obviously I have opinions, but I want to hear yours.
Go ahead. I want to hear yours.
Okay. So I am actually not bad at meteorologists. I am bad at my guidance counselor from when I was a child who told me to go into a field that requires accountability and not to just be a freaking meteorologist. When was the last time you looked at a weather report and be like, that is exactly what I'm planning for? Never. They're not even close.
I don't even look at them.
They're not even close.
I'm surprised by the weather as much as everybody else is. Like, I don't usually dress for the appropriate weather. I'm either too hot, too cold. So I have a whole closet in the back of my car just in case, because nobody can get the weather right anyway. So
yeah, I'm a vest guy. Everyone's like, why you wear a vest all the time? You look like a dork. I'm like, because it's perfect for every weather. If it's hot, you're fine. You unzip it. If it needs to be buttoned up, you button it up.
And
but like,
put your snacks in there.
We've had, well, of course, there's space for snacks. But like, look, we have this field, and most fields advance. But I would bet you, if you looked at weather reports from the 1970s and now, their margin for error is probably the exact same. And I know, hands in the air, global warming. And I'm not saying global warming doesn't exist by any means. I'm saying you knew global warming was around since the 50s. How do you not adjust your policies to account for it?
Can we talk about the last hurricane that we had come through here, where
Please.
we all like battened down the hatchets and prepared for like the storm of the century?
Please.
Thought we were going to die, and it was during fall break for almost everybody in
Oh
Atlanta.
boy!
And I had to cancel my trip and didn't get a deposit back, and then last minute drove to Hilton Head because I don't watch the weather or the news, and drove right through that crap.
So what it should have said for Atlanta was light drizzle, because that is what happened. Like, there was wind, it was thing, but it was a light drizzle. Now, that being said, Buckhead was underwater. There were pictures of boats driving through Buckhead. So, like, it's a great example. Like, what do you mean you were so wrong? And then, of course, you have 16 different countries saying these are our forecasts. This is a spaghetti forecast. So you've acknowledged that you're just drawing lines randomly, and you've named it after something that is just completely random. And you call yourself scientist.
By the way, who picks those names?
I mean,
they're the worst names ever.
It's somebody that's looking out to the crowd of people and be like, these morons won't even understand what we're saying. So let's say things they know. Spaghetti. Everybody knows spaghetti.
Yeah, we do.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so before we completely turn everybody off for all of the bad stuff, did you have any pleasant things happen to you this fine year?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear about some pleasant things.
Of course. So on a work note, we actually moved. We built and moved into a whole new building.
I've been. It's wonderful.
I gave him the grand tour. I'm a tour guide now. That can add that to my resume. Which
curated tour experiences.
Artisan tour guide.
Artisan, organic, curated experiences in the home renovations, engineering, and technical space.
This is why you get paid the big bucks.
That's what it is. Creativity.
And other than that, I'm so my mind is so busy and clouded right now. I don't even know what day or what month it is.
Yeah, but to be fair, in the moment you look at that as a bad thing, but you look back and be like, you know what? In those times when it hit the fan and I was pushed to my limits, I'm not saying I responded perfectly because you and I would be getting private planes flown around the world if we can respond that well.
Right.
But in those instances where most people would fold, I'm sure you probably came in that and said, you know what? In the circumstances, that was probably the right thing to do.
You just pivot. You handle it.
So that is a good thing. I will say that the trajectory of Atlanta, this is the first year it really became clear to me that we are in the middle of something incredible. Between all the sports teams coming, World Cup, Super Bowl, all the things we're planning for, politics, everything has driven its way through the city. And for the first time, people that I know across the world are coming to me saying, "Tell me more about Atlanta." It never happened. I've only been here for 10 years.
They're going to be so disappointed.
They will. Wait until we had Brian McGowan on for Centennial Yards. Wait until that hole is filled downtown with a $7 billion project and what downtown is going to look like. I think the tide is going to change quickly. And then to everybody who's disappointed, I remind you, it snows up there, you dummies. It's -1 degrees. We'll be outside in T-shirts in January.
I just meant about Atlanta sports because you get so hyped up and we get to the end and you're thinking all these things are going to happen and it never fails, except for the Bulldogs the last couple of years.
I was going to say.
But I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it. We still got some stuff going on.
Yes, and this will air after it, so let's not jinx it. So let's knock on. Look, sports are, the hard thing about sports here is that everybody down here is from somewhere else, right? It is very hard to be a tried and true Falcons fan. They've botched for so many years for so many people. The Hawks is so hard. That being said, we are at the Battery, and the Braves are as synonymous of a team with a region as I've ever seen anything. The thing about New York is Philly is an hour and a half down the road, right? You get to the middle part of Jersey and there's fist fights over which team it is. You get here, you'll bleed over to 16 contiguous states. The Braves are so far spread.
It's true.
So I think that's part of this whole thing is we hitch our rides to the right teams. Even Georgia Tech, man, say what you will, but Georgia Tech is one of the most prominent institutions in the world. Like if the football team doesn't do great,
I would say their football team sucks, but did you see the Georgia?
They're freaking good.
Yeah,
I'm going to Birmingham to go see them. I like the coach. I like the AD. I'm around those guys. I think that's what we need. You got to take an engineering school and put a big blue collar lug in. And Brent Key is an animal. He's so good for that position. He played football. It's not about he runs through waves. He's wearing cut off hoodies. Like he's the right guy for that team. It's another point of excitement to be associated with that stuff because it is, if you hitch your ride to the right team and just have fun with it, it is pretty cool to be involved in stuff like that.
So you say hitch your ride. I'll probably blow your mind. I've lived here my entire life. Rare breed.
Very rare breed.
An animal. Put me in a cage.
Very rare breed.
Because there's not a lot of us left. So yeah, you do see kind of a melting pot of cultures, teams, and you just kind of adjust to it.
And the good news is that I think once you come to a place like this, especially look, if you're coming from the Northeast, I think it's probably harder to come from Birmingham to here, from the little city to the big city. But if you come from a bigger city to here, you're never going to leave. You have everything that you can need and an easier way of life. Like, I say like, oh man, if you're going to stab me, do it to my face. But realistically, that wears off. Like, you know how to avoid the people who are just kind of giving you the spiel. And there's not so many of them here. Everybody's got a job to accomplish. The city's growing too fast for there to be people that are just kind of winging it. So I have no intention of leaving here. The people from the Northeast that I know of, which means my children will be Atlanta fans. Right? I'm not going to make them be Giants fans. The New York Giants, what attachment do they have to it? They were born here. Why would they be Giants fans? If they want to watch with me and they become them, that's up to them. But I think most parents and most people I know that have kids are letting them be Atlanta fans, which means the next generation of kids will be in for something special. I think.
You might be right.
It's a prediction show also, apparently, now.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. All right, so...
What's the weather going to be next week, since we're predicting things that might not come true?
So this is what the weather's going to be. It is going to be a typical Atlanta where you're going to have one day that's going to be about 54 in the sun. It's going to feel like 70, and it'll be 12 degrees the next day. Okay. That's how Atlanta rolls. They get you so excited to bring those T-shirts out, and the next day, everything dies and falls off.
That's why I keep a closet in the back of my car.
That a girl. That a girl. So you've learned to adjust. Yes. You should have been a meteorologist.
I should have been. Darn, it's not too late.
All right. So talking about people who have no idea what they're talking about, like meteorologists, we have to talk politics. Because if we talk about people who have no idea what they're talking about, let's go directly to them. So let's put aside our feelings of the candidates and everything, and let's start with the election cycle and the ads.
Can I just say I couldn't give less fucks than a celebrity that endorses a political candidate. Who cares what you think? Who cares? Like, you want to talk about influencers, and it's like, what are you basing that off of? How do you? And of course, a lot of them get paid.
A lot of money.
How do people not see that? Like, this person who you think is this big influencer is getting paid to tell you what to do. I am a Taurus. I am a bull. I am a woman all day long. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
There's not one single person I would listen to. There's not
louder.
One.
Get it out. I hear it.
I would not. There's not one person who could get up and say, you should do this. You should vote for that. Like, I'm going to have my own views.
Well, in fact, if I could interject, if they knew you, they would tell you to do the opposite, because then you would just do the opposite.
Right.
So they would, like, my mother, I told her, I'm like, Mom, just tell me to do the thing that you don't want me to do, and I'm going to do those things.
That's
so just
parenting 101.
It's the easiest thing. I'm going to rebel. But I think here's your problem.
Oh my God, you're going to diagnose my problems here too?
Here's your problem with the country, not you.
Oh, okay.
Because after that speech, I would, far be it for me to try to do it to you. Here's your problem. We are, as a society, breeding sheep. Okay, you don't go to college to be somebody at the top who's having these opinions. You go to be a sheep who's a cog in the machine.
Yeah.
We don't teach things to be free. We don't teach entrepreneurship. We don't teach opinions. We teach, look how cool Taylor Swift is, do what she does, right? Or Oprah, or any of these people. What's going to happen? You know, I'm not gonna touch this one because these allegations haven't been. But Puff Daddy did.
God damn it! You're about to go P Diddy on us.
Some bad stuff. And here's the problem.
Allegedly,
everyone knew it was happening while it was happening. These are not new things that have come out. So all these people, Bill Cosby, all these people who are being paid to give influence, what right do they have to be telling people how to do anything? And I think there are some pure ones, right? Look, LeBron James has been married since 18. He did things the right way. But for every one of them, there's a guy like Ray Lewis who got off with pretty much cold-blooded murder. I mean, like, are you going to take advice from somebody who's even tried of murder just because Mike Tyson cleaned up his act? Are you going to really look at him and be like, you know what, I want to do what you did?
No,
it's insane.
I'm not going to do that.
It's insane. It's insane. What's up with his ear? Why is he not biting my ear? But back to politics. So I think it's funny we talk about marketing. I think the biggest problem is like they don't know how to market to the constituents in which they're trying to reach. Either party, it's atrocious, right? Like Trump was a marketer. The Republican Party didn't market. Tell me what are you most excited about the Republican Party this year? They don't. There's no marketing. They don't give you things. They just yell at each other or they pander to the extremes. They don't talk to the middle of the country. But you know why? Because the Republicans and Democrats are the single biggest monopoly that we have ever seen. All they care about is being empowered together. Mm-hmm. They are in cahoots. Nancy Pelosi was worth $186,000 when she got into politics. She's worth $63 million right now. $63 million.
Why?
What do you mean why? Because she's the one who's making the rules to how to make money. It's pretty easy to, if you're the banker in Monopoly, it's pretty easy to win a Monopoly, right?
True.
Isn't it it's pretty easy. So we're so distracted with, it's the Republicans' fault, it's the Democrats' fault. It's everyone's fault. Burn it all to the ground and start over. I'm a libertarian. The problem is I also work in mass media. And in the media, you realize how dumb everybody is. And if we went to libertarian survival of the fittest, half the people wouldn't make it. They can't even tie their shoes or brush their teeth in the morning, let alone pay their own bills, not work on welfare. So, that was a doozy. What else?
Okay, with the same thought in mind of celebrities endorsing candidates, I feel the same way when I hear celebrities endorsing companies because it's paid. Like, do people actually listen to that and believe it's this tried and true?
Yeah, and that influencer marketplace and all that has thrown things out of whack. I will say, because I do this for a living, it is pretty clear to know who uses a product and who doesn't. And one of the things, for example, about radio that I enjoy, doing a one-time endorsement is easy. talking about the same company every day, 5 days a week, for some of these guys have been doing it for 10 years, you got to know something, man.
Right.
Like I could wing it, but I can't wing it every single day, 5 days a week for 10 years. There must be some kind of relationship.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get on air and say I endorse this, that, the other if I don't actually believe it, can back it. You know what I'm saying?
Unless they pay the right amount of money.
I couldn't even do that, I don't think, unless it was a lot of money.
But if they're paying the right amount of money, I would learn it myself and I would teach myself to like it. And you say, because look, one of the things where people fail, and one of the things I appreciate about you, I have clients like this. They don't just say, oh my God, they're the best company in the world. I don't know why you're not with them. You're so stupid. That's not what people want to hear.
No.
They say, look, if you put this in, this is what you'll get out. Yeah, there'll be some slow months. That's how life works. Anybody who promises results or perfection is lying.
100%.
If what I sold was tried, true, and perfect, I would have the best job in the world. And you know what that job would be? Selling stripper poles on private jets.
I was going to say weatherman, but...
That would be it. I would sell stripper poles on private jets. I would go to all the private jets in the world and be like, you know what you really need on this jet? A freaking stripper pole.
It's so funny you just said
Wouldn't that be a great job?
It would be, except for, I just talked to a lady, I'm not going to say any names. There was a fur bus in Atlanta that went to an event, and they had a pole in the bus, and somebody was on the pole, and the pole broke, and they have a concussion.
I'm not installing the poles. I'm just selling those puppies. The install guys are the liability. I just want to fly on private jets talking stripper poles.
I like that. That would be a great job.
That'd be a pretty easy job.
But I still think you should go into meteorology.
Well, my childhood dream was to be the guy who made the new menu items at Taco Bell, but I was in a different state of life at that time, so we've left that. I don't have the.
That was your childhood dream?
Yeah, man.
That explains a lot, actually.
Well, what I was doing before I was thinking about the Taco Bell things was what explains a lot, but we'll get to that a different time. All right, so we got about a minute and a half left in this segment. What are you excited for in the new year?
With the new political changes coming, and that's not a party preference one way or the other, I do think there's a lot of hope for a lot of positive change from the business aspect.
Yep.
So being a business, wanting to grow, wanting to prosper, I think that we all have a lot to look forward to from an economic perspective.
Yeah, I think that part of being a libertarian is cutting the red tape. And I think a lot of that stuff is just bureaucracy that's there. So somebody else gets a salary and gets the cushy job. And I think cutting that a lot out would allow, but again, then you get the survival of the fittest. The best companies will succeed, but that's good. That's how capitalism should work. We shouldn't be padding the chaff and the weakness in the bottom. So I'm all for that. Anything else? How about them dogs? We're gonna get.
That's fantastic.
Excited, right?
I just haven't made it that far in life yet, to be honest with you. Like, I'm still trying to get to the finish line.
It's coming, girl. So when we come back, we're going to talk after, and we're going to figure out what the hell we're going to talk about in the next segment. But you're listening to the Marketing Madman on Extra 106.3, and we'll be right back.